Every empire believes it is eternal. Every ruler believes their power will never fade. And every civilization thinks collapse only happens to others. But history tells a very different story. What you are about to hear is not just a tale of glory and defeat, it is a pattern that has repeated itself for thousands of years. Stay with me until the very end. Because once you understand how the greatest empires in history rose and fell, you will begin to see the same signs in the world around you today. Empires are not born overnight. They rise slowly, driven by ambition, discipline, and belief. In their early days, empires are hungry. Their leaders are strategic. Their people are united. Survival demands strength, innovation, and sacrifice. This is when civilizations are at their strongest, not because they are rich, but because they are focused. The ancient Egyptians built one of the longest-lasting empires the world has ever seen. For thousands of years, their civilization flourished along the Nile. Their power came from stability, agriculture, and belief. Pharaohs were not just rulers, they were gods on earth. This unity between religion, state, and society created order, and order created longevity. But over time, corruption crept in, power became centralized, innovation slowed, invasions became frequent. The same traditions that once unified Egypt eventually trapped it in the past, unable to adapt to a changing world. Then came the Assyrians, masters of warfare and fear. Their empire expanded rapidly through brute force and psychological terror. Entire cities fell without resistance simply because of their reputation. For a time, it worked. Their military machine seemed unstoppable. But fear does not create loyalty. It only creates waiting enemies. As soon as Assyrian power weakened, their empire collapsed violently, erased by those who had suffered under it. Their fall was as brutal as their rise. No more empire symbolizes power like Rome. It began as a small city-state built on discipline, law, and unity. Roman citizens believed deeply in duty and sacrifice. Their armies were unmatched not because of numbers, but because of organization. Roads connected the empire, laws unified cultures. Rome didn't just conquer territory, it absorbed civilizations. But as Rome expanded, it lost the very values that built it. Greed replaced service. Loyalty shifted from the state to individual leaders. The empire grew too large to control, too divided to defend, and too corrupt to save itself. Rome didn't fall in one day. It decayed slowly, collapsing under the weight of its own success. In the East, the Han Dynasty of China built a vast empire rooted in bureaucracy, philosophy, and trade. They established systems that shaped China for centuries. The Silk Road flourished, knowledge spread. But power became concentrated among elites. Peasant revolts erupted under heavy taxation. Court politics poisoned leadership. And once internal unity broke, external threats finished what corruption had started. Even the most sophisticated systems fail when trust is lost. Centuries later, the Islamic Golden Age gave rise to one of the most influential empires in history. From Baghdad to Cordoba, science, medicine, mathematics, and philosophy flourished. Scholars preserved ancient knowledge while expanding it. This empire thrived not merely through conquest, but through learning and tolerance. Yet political fragmentation and power struggles weakened unity. External invasions, including the Mongols, struck at the heart of the civilization. Libraries burned, cities fell. One of the brightest eras of human knowledge dimmed almost overnight. The Mongols themselves rose faster than any empire before them. Under Genghis Khan, a collection of tribes became a global force. They mastered mobility, intelligence, and adaptability. Entire kingdoms collapsed before them, yet the empire expanded too quickly. Cultural differences, succession disputes, and governance challenges fractured the Mongol world. What they conquered through unity, they lost through division. The Ottomans controlled continents and seas. Their empire balanced military strength with administration and trade. Constantinople fell, and a new era began. For centuries, they adapted, modernized, and survived where others failed. But eventually, stagnation replaced innovation. European powers advanced technologically while Ottoman reform lagged. Nationalism weakened unity. The empire slowly dissolved, piece by piece, until it became known as the sick man of Europe. Across the Atlantic, the Aztec and Inca empires ruled vast populations with remarkable organization. They engineered cities, roads, and systems in extreme environments. But their power depended on control and fear. When foreign invaders arrived, internal divisions proved fatal. Empires that ignored unity among their people crumbled from within long before they were defeated from without. The British Empire once claimed that the sun never set on its lands. Its influence shaped languages, borders, and economies worldwide. Industrial power, naval dominance, and global trade brought immense wealth. But colonies grew restless. Wars drained resources. Moral authority weakened. The empire didn't collapse in flames, it dissolved through exhaustion. Independence movements replaced control. Power shifted silently to new global players. What connects all these empires is not geography or culture, but pattern. First, unity. Then expansion. Then arrogance. Then division. Finally, collapse. Empires fall not when enemies grow stronger but when they forget why they became strong in the first place. Perhaps the most unsettling truth is this. Collapse always feels impossible until it happens. People living inside empires rarely realize they are watching the end. They believe prosperity will continue. They believe systems will correct themselves. They believe power protects them. History teaches us otherwise. Technology changes. Weapons evolve. Borders shift. But human nature remains the same: greed, pride, fear, ambition. These forces build empires and destroy them. If you're still watching, it means you understand history is not about the past. It is about patterns, about warnings written in stone and blood. This channel exists to uncover those patterns, to understand not just what happened, but why it happened. If you want to explore more stories like this, the lies, the glory, and the fall hidden behind history's greatest empires, now is the time to subscribe, because the future belongs to those who learn from the past. And remember this truth, written by time itself: rise and fall of the greatest empires in history.